Hello, this is a Private Investigator Experience podcast with a special report on events that will affect us here at home. I've been doing a deep dive investigation into the assassination attempts on President Trump and what the future might hold, not only for President Trump, but for we the citizens. It's not any secret that the radical left would like to see him eliminated in any way necessary. Even though with the attacks on President Trump, the radical left has not toned down their promotion and talk that if Trump is elected, he will destroy the nations and take away our rights. In their sight, he's a threat to the nation. It's interesting to note that Ryan Roth, the attacker on the president at the golf course, had in his writings that Trump was a threat to the nation and other postings that mirrored the radical left's approach and what they are spewing out all over the airways. In their sight, he's a threat to the nation. It's also interesting to note that Ryan Roth, this potential attacker, really doesn't have any apparent assets, income. None of it's been found. He's been traveling all around and trying to assassinate President Trump. It's reported that he was there in that area for over 12 hours. And how did he know that Trump was going to be at the golf course when it was not on his schedule? Even the Secret Service didn't know about it until it happened. When you look at his past and his involvement in Ukraine, where is all his money coming from? And all these issues that he's floating around getting involved in, all the people that he's meeting with from the left. Interesting. And this requires a deeper dive into the investigation. Also, it has been reported that Senator Blumenthal, as a Democratic senator, has been pounding the Biden-Harris administration for information that they are not forthwith or giving to the Senate committees that they need, and he's pushing and calling them out on their dragging their feet and not putting out the proper information so this can be really looked at and we find out really what is going on. I've also heard, and I'm trying to research this and determine if it's really true, but it sounds like from the sources that I'm hearing from that there are at least five teams that are known, hit teams in the U.S. that have as their target President Trump. And I'll have more on that later as I'm able to find out information on that. My counterterrorism work started in Israel and Lebanon back in the middle 70s. And I've had some conversations with colleagues about the possibility of there being a group behind the attempts on President Trump, just not some random individuals. One thought was that put forth was that the left's approach is to so demonize President Trump that some of their unstable followers will take the hint and do the work for them. I think we've seen that happen twice already. And this is how ISIS, remember, and the other terrorist groups have worked. They've encouraged the lone wolves to act on their own, finding a target that fits the mold of what they want to do, but without their putting the finger of planning on it, so that they can also deny involvement if they want to. The other breaking news is that Israel received intelligence. Now, this is interesting. Where did their intelligence come from? Out of Beirut? That intelligence in the last few hours that Hezbollah was preparing to launch attacks of over 1,000 rockets simultaneously into Israel in response to the beeper explosions and the killing of all of the Hezbollah leaders. Now, also at that same time, intelligence came in that there was a meeting with the last top 12 commanders that were left after all these assassinations. And they were in a meeting in Beirut in an underground bunker within an apartment, under an apartment building. That location was given to the Israeli intelligence. And within a short time, the approval had been given to take that building out. They took it out with bunker busting bombs. The whole building was collapsed and all 12 of those targets high-level Hezbollah figures were taken out. Keep adding that to the numbers already taken, and hopefully they'll be getting down to the junior ranks, and some of these old-time seasoned operatives will be gone. Also, one of them killed was the one that the U.S. has a $7 million bounty on, that was part of the bombing of the Marine barrack back years ago. So America doesn't have to pay that $7 million price on his head for him being taken out. At the same time that this attack was going on, Israel, because of their intelligence and have been able to track the movements of all these terrorists because they had access to their beepers, simultaneously with 40 to 50 airplanes hit these targets, over 100 of them, that had their missiles ready to be targeted and fired simultaneously on Israel. So that preemptive strike took out Hezbollah's capability of that strike on northern Israel. Good intelligence is worth its weight in gold. It's apparent that Hezbollah is not going to surrender or move back to above the Litani River. And probably they can't, because Iran's not going to let them surrender. And Iran doesn't mind them losing all the people they have to. But Iran would really lose face if Hezbollah moved back. So they're probably not going to happen. In light of that, within the last few hours, the Israel Home Command issued new directives to all citizens from Haifa to the Lebanese border. These are orders that they're banning groups of over 30 people. So there'll be no soccer games, concerts, or any outside gatherings of large groups of people. Businesses and schools also have to be putting things in place that can get their people quickly to bunkers. And this is normally a kind of directive that is put out prior to an all-out conflict, where citizens are told to seek shelter in bomb shelters or other official places. More to come on that in hours, but it sounds like with this directive put out that we could be looking for an all-out assault into southern Lebanon within could be hours or days. Ironically, I remember I spent a lot of time in Metula, Israel, back in my days there, and I stayed at the Arazim Hotel. That was a little burg of a town back then. And I was there in June of 1982 when Israel forces streamed across the border to take out Mosul Castle. And they succeeded in that. And for so many years, they had that buffer zone in southern Lebanon. You know, when I was there and after that, until finally they pulled out for political reasons, I think more than anything. And so that allowed Hezbollah to move back into southern Lebanon and camp right on their borders and penetrate with not only missiles and drones and bombs, but also with potential terrorists. It appears from the information that I've been getting that Hezbollah was getting ready to launch an all-out attack on the ground. They had 5 units and of 1,000 each of soldiers, and they were going to hit across into northern Israel, take hostages, and take control of some of those northern towns, thinking that they could overrun the Israeli military. But this time, it's not going to be like Gaza, where they came streaming across. There's 4 or 5 battalions of Israelis already there and more on the way. If you're a praying person, would you be praying for President Trump and for Israel? Pray that President Trump is kept safe. I don't think we really understand what could happen if something happens to President Trump in this time before the election. The finger would be pointed at the current administration. And with the situation in our country like it is, I shudder to think what could happen if this should be allowed to occur. So let's keep the angels of the Lord around him and protect him and his family and all those concerned. Also, Why should we be concerned about Israel moving into Lebanon against Hezbollah? Well, connect to that, if that happens, and it looks like it will, they then will start uh, attacks out of Iran from the Iraqi um, proxies, and they will be attacking American interests there. And we know that within the United States, there are sleepers from Iran and the other terrorist groups that could be activated because remember, it's not if America is going to receive another attack like 9/11. It's only going to be when, and it could be worse. So we need to be alert. We need to be aware. We need to get involved in our communities, calling out and making sure we have proper security. And remember, the only way that we can turn our country around is if we vote on November the 5th and vote for the person that would be the best commander in chief, that would best stop the southern borders, that would best reduce inflation, that would best reduce our costs and release our capabilities back in fracking and oil that would put us back on energy independence, which will bring down the cost. Which person would be the best to do that? Forget about the party. And remember, if you're not registered to vote, and I'm amazed when I hear about the number of people on the right or conservative or even moderates that aren't registered to vote. Get registered to vote today if you aren't. Would you help me by liking, sharing, subscribing, and you know the drill. Hit that notification bell for future posts. Now, get involved. Step out of the crowd. Please leave me your thoughts or comments on any of the platforms or email me at pi777@gmail.com. Until next time, be safe. May God bless you, your family, and may God